Boa noite, boa noite.
Você que vai avisar quando que toca o gong. Aí você faz assim pra ele, tá?
Boa noite. Vamos jogar. Boa noite.
Hello, everyone.
Muito boa noite a todos os presentes aqui no tertuliário.
Good
E
night,
também
and
aqueles
hello
que nos
all.
acompanham
All
pela internet, no
everybody
canal do
who
IIPC no
are here
YouTube
in
e também no canal do
Tertuliário.
Tertuliário. Sejam
Also
todos
those who
muito
follow us
bem-vindos.
live on the IIPC
Eu sou
YouTube
Alessandra
channel.
Nascimento e terei a
Very warm
alegria de
welcome
conduzir
to
essa
all.
cerimônia
I
ao
am
lado da minha amiga
Alessandra
raríssima,
Nascimento,
Isabela
and I
Colares.
will have the joy of
Obrigada,
conducting this
Alessandra.
ceremony alongside
Pessoal,
Isabela
como nós
Colares.
já
Thank you,
demos início,
Alessandra.
a gente vai pedir, por
Folks, as we
gentileza, o
already
silêncio das
started,
pessoas que já estão
we are
presentes
going
aqui
to
conosco no
ask,
tertuliário, para a gente
please,
começar da
the
melhor
maximum
forma.
silence
Pode ser?
for people who are joining us
Então,
here in
obrigada,
Tertuliário.
Alessandra.
Thank you, Alessandra.
Declaramos iniciada oficialmente
So
a cerimônia de abertura do
opening
7º Congresso
ceremony
Internacional de
of the
Projeciologia
7th
e
International
também
Congress
da
of Projectiology
13ª Semana
and the
Paracientífica da
13th
Conscienciologia.
Parascientific
A
Week
edição
of
desse ano
Conscienciology.
possui um
This
significado
year edition
bastante
has a very
especial,
special
pois
meaning
celebra os 40
because it
anos do
celebrates
Tratado
the
Projeciologia, obra
40th
que representa
anniversary of the
marco
Projectiology
histórico para a pesquisa
Treatise,
da
a
consciência
work that
e para a
represents a
consolidação
historical
da
milestone
conscienciologia.
for the
O
research
Tratado
of
Projeciologia
and for
ergue-se
the
como uma
consolidation
pedra
of
angular,
conscienciology.
sobre a
The
qual
treatise
a
Projectiology
Conscienciologia
stands
consolidou
as
suas
the
bases como
milestones
ciência
on which
independente.
conscienciology
Ao
consolidated its
sistematizar o
foundation
intercâmbio
as an
entre as
independent
dimensões,
science.
com
By
rigor
systematizing
metodológico,
the exchange
esta obra
between
monumental
dimensions with
transformou
methodological
o
rigor,
intangível
this
em
monumental
objeto de
work
investigação,
transformed the
de
intangible
experimentação
into
e de
an object
autopesquisa.
of
Ao
investigation
longo dessas 4
and of
décadas, o
experimentation
Tratado
and
Projeciologia
self-research.
consolidou os
Over
fundamentos
these 4
sobre os quais
decades, the
hoje se
Projectiology
desenvolvem
Treatise
dezenas de
consolidated the
especialidades da
foundation on which
conscienciologia.
today dozens of
Celebrar esse
specialties of
aniversário é
conscienciology
reconhecer
are
a obra que
developed.
impulsionou
Celebrating this
gerações de
anniversary
pesquisadores,
is to acknowledge
ampliando
the
os
work
horizontes da
that has
ciência e
driven
da
generation
compreensão
of
multidimensional
researchers,
da própria consciência.
expanding the
E que
horizons
maneira
of
melhor de
science and the
celebrar estes 40
multidimensional
anos
understanding
do
of
que por meio
consciousness.
da
And
produção,
what
da
better way to
publicação e da
celebrate these
divulgação
40 years
da
than through
mais
the
recente
prediction of
pesquisa
the
em projeciologia.
publication and
Ao longo dos
dissemination
próximos
of the
dias,
latest
nossa programação
research in
reunirá
projectiology.
conferências,
Over the
mesas de
next few
debates,
days, our
oficinas,
programming
mini-cursos
will bring
e
together
apresentações científicas
conferences,
dedicadas ao
discussions,
estudo
tables,
avançado da
workshops,
projeção
mini-courses
consciente
and
e
scientific
suas interfaces com as diversas
dedication,
especialidades da conscienciologia.
presentations to,
Ao celebrarmos
in the
os 40
advanced
anos
study
do
of
Tratado
consciousness
Projeciologia,
projections.
entendemos
As we
ser
celebrated
indispensável
the 40
reconhecer
years of
também
the treatise
aqueles que no
Projectiology, we
presente
believe it is
preservaram, qualificaram
indispensable
e ampliaram
to
o alcance
acknowledge those
desta
who
obra
at present
fundamental.
preserve, qualify
Registramos,
and
portanto,
expand
nosso
this core
reconhecimento
of this
institucional a
fundamental
editares, atual responsável pela
therefore,
publicação
we
do
register
Tratado
our
Projeciologia,
institutional,
pela preservação de seus
recognition
direitos
to
autorais.
editaries
E é com
currently
grande
responsible
satisfação
for
que
the
registramos a
publication
presença dos
of
seus
the
coordenadores
Projectiology
gerais,
Treatise.
a professora Roberta Bouchardet
It is
e o
with a
professor
great
Cícero
satisfaction
Borges.
that
Em nome
we
de
note
toda a
the presence
comunidade
of its
científica aqui
general
reunida, recebam o
coordination,
nosso reconhecimento, a
Instructor
nossa
Roberta
gratidão
Bouchardet
e os
and Cícero
aplausos de
Borges.
todos os
On
presentes.
behalf of the entire scientific community, gather the recognition and gratitude and the applause of all here present.
Com o aprofundamento das pesquisas, novas especialidades foram sendo desenvolvidas, ampliando os campos de investigação da consciência e dando origem a instituições dedicadas a diferentes frentes de pesquisa, ensino, assistência e gestão do conhecimento.
Esse crescimento institucional está funcionando, pessoal?
Management.
Não? Esse crescimento institucional tornou necessária uma instância de integração, de cooperação e representação conjunta das instituições conscienciocêntricas. Foi nesse contexto que surgiu a Unicim, União das Instituições Conscienciocêntricas, promovendo a intercooperação, o alinhamento institucional e o desenvolvimento integrado das ICs.
No tertuliário, a placa das instituições conscienciocêntricas representa simbolicamente essa trajetória evolutiva. Ela registra para a história o crescimento contínuo da conscienciologia e das instituições dedicadas ao desenvolvimento do paradigma consciencial.
E em comemoração aos 40 anos do Tratado Projectiologia, realizaremos a partir de agora um ato solene de atualização da placa.
The Projectiology Treatise, we will now carry out a solemn act of update of the Board of Conscienciocentric Institutions, incorporating the institutions created over the last few years and recording another chapter in the evolutionary of conscientiology. We invite Unicim secretaries, Professor Flávio Bononato, to carry out this symbolic act. Hello all, good night. It's a great satisfaction that we see Tertuliarium crowded with so many consciousness towards focusing in the evolution. We are in the middle of Cognopolis experience. We've been already crossing 30 years of conscienciogram, 20 years of deep DIP. We had the 20 years of CIEC, 40 years now of Projectiology Treatise. We are going to have 30 years of ECP3. And then we thought, we have so many celebrations, how we can create another one. So we are going to upgrade the plate, and we are still spending. Today we are 30 institutions. I want to call Philip to help me. It's the first time that I am going to open this plate. I don't know if Felipe have done that. It's just a symbolical way, showing that we are expanding, we are developing in terms of conscienciological paradigm research. Okay, yeah, that's it, great. That this new plate represents not only the institutional growth of conscienciology, but also the permanent commitment of all the conscienciocentric institutions to research, assistance, education, and the evolution of consciousness. Continuing our ceremony, we would like to invite the institutional and scientific authorities to compose the table of honor. This Congress is result of the intercooperation between conscienciocentric institutions, researchers, teachers, technical teams, and dozens of volunteers who, in an integrated way, made possible the celebration of the 40 years of Projectiology Treatise. We would like now to invite the institutional and scientific authorities to compose our table of honor. We initially received the representative of the General Coordination of the International Institute of Projectiology and Conscienciology, Daniel Shea and André Borges. We also invite the Secretary General of Unicim, Instructor Flávio Bononato, once again. We received the General Coordination of the Center for High Studies of Conscienciology, Instructors Philip and Fausto. Philip Fletcher and Fausto Camargo, please. We invite the coordinators of the 7th International Congress of Projectiology and the 13th Para-Scientific Week of Conscientiology, instructors Jaciara Krumenauer, Eduardo Laranjeira, and Alexandre Zeslewski. And representing the Inter-Scientific Council, we would like to invite Licina Schneider, Gabriel Augusto, and Alexandre Daibert, please. We welcome all the authorities who are part of the Table of Honor in respect of the schedule of the scientific program and to provide the opportunity for the manifestation of all institutional representatives. We will invite each institution to make a brief greeting of 1 minute. In this way, all the institutions will be able to share their message, preserving the progress of tonight's schedule. So invite for your greeting Daniel Schell and André Borges, representing the IIPC General Coordination. As Alessandra mentioned, good night, everyone, once for all. It's very good to be here, seeing this tertuliarium crowded. I was recalling and remembering that the last time was in the mnemonic dance, or I think we had like a Saturday. I want to say thank you very much for being here because you answered our call. This is the power of projectiology. The anniversary of the treatise crowded the tertuliarium once again. We congratulate you all for being here. Nothing better than opening this Congress and this Para-Scientific Week among this environment here, in this intraphysical environment. We are collaborating in a mental somatic way, so expecting that 40 years more to come. Thank you all. Hello. We were down there receiving everyone, me and Shell. We received a congratulation for this activity, for this Congress. Nevertheless, this is a group realization. We all are congratulated for being here. I prepare a very long debate. Be welcome. We invite Instructor Flávio Bononato, General Secretary of UNICIM. Once again, I am here. I think an important point here in terms of UNICIM we want to highlight it is the intercooperation process for this event today. We had many conversations to align with all this agenda together with a World Cup, and this intercooperation was very important. I want to highlight the importance of the Inter-Scientific Council, IIPC, CAEC, Enciclo Sapiens, and Consecutivos in being able to make this happen, make all this being able, all of us to be here today. It is very important, and this environment is very important because of the mental somatic meaning, not only for us, but for the intermissivists that are here as well. And the intermissivists who are here aiming to know what is going to happen during the SciPro and during the Para-Scientific Week. So thank you all once again for giving this great support. And we are going to have great, fantastic, and great realizations. Thank you all. Thank you, Flavio Bononato. And now we invite instructors Philip and Fausto, General Coordinator and Deputy General Secretary of SEAEC. Good night, all. The problem of talking after everyone is that many of what you taught on saying, people said before, but by SEAEC, I want to highlight it that beyond the celebration of the 4 decades of conscientiology, so representing SEAEC and from the SEAEC point of view, being here today, we imagine this moment, but I can guarantee you all that this moment right now is being fantastic. It is with a great joy that we receive you all here in the Tertuliarium, and there is nothing a better place for us to celebrate these 4 decades and this celebration also to Instructor Vieira in this place where he started and he built it all the celebration and all these projects, and I'm sure wherever he is clapping his hand and very happy. So this event has been organized for more than a year. It's important to reinforce IIPC and SEAEC together as a partnership. IIPC accepted to bring this together with the Parascientific Week. So we want to say once more, thank you, IIPC, once more. And I could be saying thank you very much for many, many people, because we have a big team. Most of us has been in IIPC, and we all know how important it is IIPC for conscientiology and its expertise. I am hoping that you can enjoy this moment and this week. Hello all, it's a great pleasure to be here, to see this house crowded. Me and Philip, we were talking and we are reflecting that it was really worth it, dedicated and plan hours and hours of gathering, of meetings, to see all of you here and to see this celebration. This is a moment of celebration. This is why we share histories, experiences, and we share learnings as well. And this is what we expect from this Congress and from the celebration of these 4 decades. So we want to say thank you very much for the words, and we'd like to invite the coordinators of the 7th CIPRO and the 13th Parascientific Week of Conscientiology instructors Jaciara Krumenauer, Eduardo Laranjeira, and Alexandre Zaslavsky. It's a great satisfaction. I am very proud of seeing you all here. It's great. It was worth it, all this work. And we aim to see you during this week. It's going to be an immersion inside Projectiology. So we expect everybody taking the best, profiting the best from this. Hello, all. Reinforcing the joy of being here so many years. We did not see Tertuliarium with so many people as a coordinators from the Inter-Scientific Council. I don't know if you guys are aware of this council. So we have in Unicin a scientific representing all the consensus-centric institutions, and the Parascientific Week has been for 13 years a debate celebrating the advance of conscientiology. So this year was a big synergy, this partnership with IIPC and SEAEC to celebrate the 40 years of projectiology, one thing I want to highlight is that beyond the fact that we all are here because of the treatise, so Projectiology is a book with a scientific excellence that is like no other. What gathered us together was the quality of research that Instructor Vieira did along 19 years, gathering personal experiences in order to build a scientific treatise that we have no comparison in our planet. This scientific quality that projectiology represents, this is what it is here, reinforcing how it's important and how we develop because of this scientific holotocene in a new paradigm. So with this, I want to give a warm welcome to all. Let's have a great event. In honor to the Tertulliarium that embraces the 7th Cypro. No, it comes from the voluntariology. The 7th Cypro is more than a gather. It's like a para gather. Different groups, different people, nice friends, with whom I got in touch, with whom I used to speak with WhatsApp, and now I see face-to-face. Since March 2025, we assume together this mission to promote the best Congress. And it has been qualified together with the Parascientific Week. And I want to honor people who helped us before the 7th Cypro, before it came the first in June 1990 in Rio de Janeiro, and then the second in October of 99 in Barcelona, Spain, the third in New York, May. And those two, Barcelona and New York, make it international. The 4th Cypro in Belo Horizonte in August 2008. 5th October 2014, Foz do Iguaçu. And the 6th one, we had the online modality showing that the energy and our science has no boundaries. Thank you all for all the Cypros that were before us. And it's an honor being here, receiving all these new people as well. I want to say thank you very much for the instructors. And from this instant, this moment, we would like to invite Gabriel Augusto and Licinha Schneider and Alexandre Dybert. Hello, all. Today is a special day. Tertulliarium crowded 40 years of projectiology, centuries of evolutionary friends, and a theme, an extraordinary team that worked for more than 1 year for us to arrive here. To have a dimension from this work, me and Licinha, we are going to bring at some numbers from the technical scientific team. 2 work calls, 119 articles, 103 people evaluate with a double-blind methodology with 3 evaluation for 3 articles. This is 357 evaluations from HOMO projections. And 5 organizational structures, IIPC, CIEC, Unicin, Invisible College, and ISAC. I just want to say thank you very much for this super fantastic work and for all the organizations as well. From all this movement that Gabriel mentioned for more than 120 articles, we have an idea about what is going to happen during the Congress that is going to be in our projections. Homo Projector magazine. We have 34 work, 24 articles, and 10 in the category of summarize, review. Many people who had been doing revision. And we are going to have 3 big conferences, 21 articles with round tables and 10 panels, presentations. We are going to have a big volume of information during all this week. Together with that, we have Isaac team people, 10 volunteers responsible for all the translation, the slides. We have the Congress presentation in English, 10 volunteers that did all the translation, and we are going to have 6 translators, six interpreters. So the volume of volunteers is huge. We want to say thank you all for all this team that had collaborated. We wish you a great Congress and take the best out of it. Folks, I want to highlight it that in this moment is special due to the integration, because we are interconnecting all the history, interconnecting CyPro with the Parascientific Week, interconnecting this as one unique and special event. This integration and in the mental somatic journey that we are perceiving again among everyone, interconnecting so many specialities, and especially projectiology as a milestone. We can say that projectiology is the mother, no, or even the milestone speciality than from the others. So I want to say that this mental somatic congress, and I want to invite you, for those who hadn't been able to enroll yourself in the congress. So help us to build this congress together and be able to contribute with the growth of this science even more. Allow me to break the protocol. For us to be here, in Tertulliarium, we renew Tertulliarium, a team that coordinate Luis and Nazaré. They helped a lot to qualify. You don't know how difficult it is to renew all the chairs. So I want to say I want to wish a big hello and big clap of your hands for them, no? Those two who renovated Tertulliarium.
We officially declare the scientific program at the 7th International Congress and the 13th Parascientific Week of Conscientiology. Subsequently, we invite all members of the honor table to remain in their places to attend the opening conference. So we have the honor to present the opening conference, Self-Projection Metrology, 40-year analysis, 1986 to 2026. To deliver this conference, we invite Professor Pedro Fernandez to go to the center of the Tertulliarium. The lecturer The lecturer is a specialist in radiology and diagnostic imaging, researcher of serology, conscientiologist, and volunteer of the International Association of Serological and Holobiographical Research, Consecutivas. We wish you all a great activity. So good evening. It's very satisfying to be here. So I was caught like off guard when I submitted an article. My article was selected, and then we are here today. So I would like to thank you all for the organization team. We are gonna adapt a little bit the presentation is to bring some concepts so we can go deep or deeper in qualifying the scientific qualification. So I look at the titles of the all presentations, a lot of synergy, and my intent that's exactly to bring some points for us to reflect and discuss. I brought some slides so to help us guide the presentation. So I'm very thankful all the projectiology gave me in terms of experience, foundation related to my proaxis. And when there was the call for this Congress, so I was very happy to be part of it. And since we realized my first projection was in 1986. That was an excellent opportunity to celebrate 40 years of this self-experience. I brought some of the a summary of the assessment done here. So, and I would like to present a concept as well. And Professor Waldo, he brought up this this concept of mega paravinculum. And it's more to the end of the intermissive course to synthesize or summarize what should be a priority. So along with some friends, so we did some research together. And all this is related to the way it is going here. Yeah, we're gonna have about 1 hour here. Try to be to be brief here. All good? What's the concept here? When we do the assessment of projections, we didn't have like a formal process. So we are suggesting the self-projection metrology. So that's why we're proposing this specialty to have some parameters for an assessment. The second part it is, I thought about the experiences I had related to the proaxis. So the experiences out of body, which could be related to the proaxis. Sometimes we leave the body to provide assistance and explore something related to the proaxis, but there are some experience the helpers say, hey, take care of this, pay attention on those details. This is some kind of a training. I chose those examples and experiences that I had, or some this coincidence that I had as well, to come up with this specialty. That's the suggestion we are doing. I'm bringing like a brief timeline of my experiences, some milestones. I'm not gonna give you too much of details, just some of the important facts. And then we're gonna close up with this concept of megaparavinculum to have more elements or concepts to think about it. The introduction, it's always good to remember we are celebrating the 40 years of the Projectiology treatise. So we call this, there was a wave since it was published. So from the beginning of this book, so other institutions are coming, then becoming a community. So author, book, community, we were the result of this process of author up to the community. The result of all the work of Professor Walter. This represents the strength of the Jeskins produced. In my case, I'm sure there is a similar cases. Those coincidence of dates in 1986. I would like to ask you where we were in 1986. Who was still a consciax in 1986 back then? So please raise your hand. So a very good chunk of people here. They weren't even born yet. And we asked who already was a conscience back then, what we were doing in 1986. So, several were already engaged. Several were meeting Valdo. I was doing some, yeah, I was doing my workouts. We are celebrating this process, a 40-year-old experience. And then we're gonna be on the extra physical. So we need to pay attention on the dates. The projectiology, self-projectability, and max proaxis. So the justification, the motivation, the motivation I have is to doing this. I used to be more shy, and now I am on this role. So I never thought I would have this leadership role. So several of us goes through this recycling and through the institute and the whole volunteering process. It's an opportunity to contribute. So the congresses gives strength to public new work, the scientificity of the projectiology, gain a lot from this. But there's still little articles about projectiology and projections. That was my motivation. That's why I'm here right now. In general, it's to deepen the relationship between the projectiology and proexology. More specifically, analyze the interaction among projectiology and the megaparavinculum that I mentioned. And I also like to link the projectiology and the proaxis manual as well. So I took all the experiences that I had and I picked and choose the ones that I think are related. So it's always important to remember the principle of disbelief. So don't believe in anything, not even what you are told. It's all important to think about this. So let's talk about this specialty here. The science of dedication of the self-projection metrology. It's a science dedicated to the specific study of quality, quantity, and characteristics of a personal consciousness, projections, along with the respective degrees of lucidity. Yeah, it's to take a look, to zoom in what type of projection you have, what experiences you had and you had before, to extrapolate the binomial. This is what I would like to propose for you guys to think. How many parapsychic analysis variables do you as a projector typically use to gauge the development of your personal projectability? Who has the capability of out-of-body experience to the projection? What do you usually use? We're going to bring 30 variables, and other presentations are going to be convergent to this approach. So we can help us to think more about our projectability. This will lead to the projectogram. It's a technical worksheet used by the projecting consciousness to research, measure, identify, and evaluate the evolution of the quality pattern of conscious projections. So that's why I'm proposing those variables that we're going to be reviewing right now to go deeper on this. So we are coming from a course is a semi-consciousness. It's a level, and in the structure that it relates to 6% of the Serenissimus, that they have a very level of understand the parapsychism, the 24-hour parapsychism, and monitoring. It has everything to do with the projectiology as well. So after this course, we had more than 200 people there. Several became motivated to think more about the projectiology and the roots of what can I do to improve, what can I do to live the body more, how can I work on my own energies to increase my level of the coincidences, to improve my qualification of the assistantiology. So I brought some of the variables. I'm going to speak slowly about those and think how each of us related to those variables. The helping to the people that are capable to project. What type of contact do you have with the helpers? Several times at the beginning of my projectability, I couldn't feel the helpers. They wouldn't make themselves visible. So as part of the development process, and working like shoulder on shoulder, they try to avoid the relationship, the dogma with the helpers, so we can evaluate in our process how it is my relationship with the helpers, direct or indirect. Do I perceive them? Sometimes I would have projects that I couldn't see the helpers. That's one way to evaluate. And related to the extra physical assistance, what the assisted. So do we have some level of what type of assistance we are providing, the energy donation, the intrusion, the person that's capable of the projection can understand the qualification, the level that he or she reached, the projective rescues, what experiences we had to go to the basement and help the consciousness, the consciences that are there, the volitations, how we can master it. and others helping the projected conscious to validate. What are the attributes that behind this? What are the attributes behind the validation? There is a need of a focus. So I remember there was like two mountains. So we had to validate from one mountain to the other. So in time that we will improve that process and understand moving from one dimension to another. Yes, leave a tough situation in the extra physical and mental somatic projections. Mental somatic projections. So mental somatic projections, it's more advanced process. So what we perceived on those type of experiences. So when in the extra physical, we did have experience sponsored mental somatic projections. This has a repercussion in the intraphysical as well. When you resonate, you come on a higher level of projection capability, and to talk more about this. Projective retrocognitions. So the hollow memory, how much we can actually, how many projections we have, the recognition, projective recognitions, projective techniques. There are several techniques. So with time, the projector starts to develop his or her own technique or techniques. Some with the relaxation, sometimes with the mental target. So when we perceive that you are getting out of the body, so we apply with the techniques. Even the projective lucidity, we talked a lot about this, and we look at from the scale perspective, the extra projections. People from the extra cons, the extraterrestriology, those are more rare. And access to the para procedence, which communities we were part of before we resonated, and how this is part of our holo memory. The original ideas. So the original ideas, the capability for verb bones, we can make some assessments. In projective volitionology, when I attended when I did my balance or my assessment, 80 or 90% of the projections, there was not by my own volition. They were assisted. The veteran projector. So my idea it is to revert this, be more on my own, not be too much assisted. What we can remember, the recalls we have during the experience, come back to the body so we don't lose the information, and the level of extra physical interaction, the telepathy. It's also a point of assessment, the evolutionary scale as well. with all the experience that we had. So we faced Consrel, intruders, com the depart. We have some parameters to compare. Who has out-of-body experience of projections through the energy, so you understand the different patterns. The projective recesses. Who hasn't had that experience of some recesses? When I was my childhood and adolescence, I started having those when I started to study for go to college. But the quality, maybe the number gone down, but the quality is higher. The direct contact with extraterrestrial consciousness. We don't have aspiration, so you go out of the planet, more transcendent. So facing an extraterritorial consciousness, it's very impactful. It's very important to do that assessment. And when we talk about the intermissive course as well, projections post penta, for me it's very important. I place a lot of importance on this. So during the penta, it can end up with an assistance. The direct contact with intruders. So they started to have more a direct facing intruders as well. Extrapolations, projective extrapolations. What are the average projections we had, and those that extrapolate what we had experienced, and the deperticity projectiological. So those are the intrusion projections. You understand the level of deperticity. I can understand, go to some extra physical, different levels of the extra physical. So in the projective power phenomena, when you're starting the psychosoma, then we're going to talk about this later. And then the cosmo-conscientiousness. This is a projection phenomena. There is a grading that the projectiology the treatise talk about this as well. We have like the average level of lucidity, and there is an above level consciousness experience. It's not yet a cosmo-conscious, but it is going through that path. We have the proexogenic projections. So we're going to talk more about this. Here we have a general view of this mini projectiogram, the 30 variables. And we have 5 more of the projective power phenomenology. The quantity, so how many we had, and you see yourself laying down, your body laying down. So the self bilocation, the takeoff, the takeoff lucid process, when you feel you're taking off, it's very impactful. They come back. In the parapsychophony, go out of the body, and then when incorporate in the medium or parapsychic person, and this can happen extra-physically as well. The consciousness projection, those that we don't lose the lucidity, there is no the blackout that sometimes happen, and the psychosomal property. the elongation, the permeability, illumination. One of the experiences that I had when I was about to become a professor, when we start talking about a lot of intermissive course, I was asking myself, what is this? One of the projections that I had, so I projected and I saw myself out of my body, and I saw in my agenda to say visit intermissive course. And then a consciousness, I could see a consciousness that I could see this, and that consciousness, mental telepathy talked to me, and then I saw an aisle, and she was open up. I could see me teaching projectability on an intermissive course. Try to fixate data, the respiration process and the permeability as well. So go out of the room, go there and come back, and the volatilization as well. All those parameters, the more we are able to control those, understand them, it is better. The projectability, it is very interesting, and we learn a lot from those experiences, but it depends on how you actually understand the process, or you have control of the process. But when you control that, you control the takeoff, you control the entire process, that's what it is, the behind of what I'm trying to understand more. So far so good. So we can now propose like some type of a graphic. This is just to illustrate this. That's the proposal. The concept, it is for every one of us. We can have anyone can have other variables as well to have an assessment, because sometimes we don't remember exactly what we've done before we resonate. In terms of what we've done to become projectors later on. During the preparation process, it's not only focused on this life, but on the seriology point of view as well. There is the institutions, the Tertuliarium, the Professor Valdo. So who knows what's going to be on the next life? The help of the helpers, and we have more autonomy, parapsychic autonomy, not to be that dependent on the helpers, so we can walk on our own feet. So the people who were really concerned when Professor Valdo was still here, so we need to have those experiences, so the helpers will help. Will be helped, but we need to do our homework to keep lucidity and improve every time. That's one of the messages that I want to leave. To get it now on the projectiology, I pose this question. Have you ever experienced lucid projections with an obvious projectiological connotation? Have you ever received an extra physical guidance from a helper regarding a specific projectiological decision? When I got in contact with conscientiology in 1981, so we were getting closer to the first Congress. A friend of mine, he was having a lot of projections. So, I was having those experiences. He was having experiences, out of body experience, and he landed me this book here. This was the intrusion process for me when I had access to this book here. And the second book, it is from another book from Professor Waldo as well. That was like closing of what I needed to know. And then the Congress started. We were in Brasilia, we were there. So we became volunteers. So I started thinking, what it is, how it is important to write a book. It is part of the invisible college to help, and several others are here to celebrate this date here of other people helped to the intrusion process as well. I'm very thankful to Professor Valdo for this, because what I experienced, I was helped to understand this for the books and through the institute, por isso que eu me tornei a volunteer. I had an experience that I would like to provide some details when I was a volunteer. So that was another entity. I was working with Cristina Queiroz. On a Thursday, I had an experience that is a similar experience that I had on intermissive course. And so out of the body, look at me. Have you seen yourself in this condition of coordinating or taking a leadership role? And he smiled and laughed. So I woke up with that experience. I was a medicine student, so maybe I'm preparing for this in one day. I'll do this. Who knows? It was a Thursday that we meet on a Thursday. So so the leader at that moment said that he couldn't keep. Then he had a personal issue, and he appointed me to do that. So I talked to the leadership team to see if they were okay with that. So on that very moment, my projections, they have another meaning. So far, the projects I had so far back then, I left the body. I was curious. I would go through Brasilia, and I was going through my own experiences there. So now, my participation was inserted in a deeper context in the conscientiology. Coincidentally, and then on the very same week that I was working, I was reading some notes from a tertulia, from an entry of the everybody here. It is part of this. We talked about, you know, the transmitter. And so they there on the extra physical, they talked about us as well. It's sometimes it is you be like a freelancer projector. So then you become like as if a representative of a multinational company. So yeah, so the consciousness gave me that perspective. So the helpers help us in this to understand the process or the level that we should be. As like we studied in the same conscience course. That's where we started. If we started inconsciously, so we are guided, go through here, go through there. And then there's the next step. The person has more lucidity. And the person goes like, you know, more or less to improving it to become a semi-conscious. The semi-conscientiology, it starts much, much earlier. A semi-conscious is 6% of the Serenissimus. It's a lot of that we need to dig and understand more. So I'm going to go a little faster here. I already talked about my casuistry already. So the important aspect, the retrospective assessment, projectiological self-research. So we will be doing that after we decimate. The personal notes, the projectiography, how important and how important it is to take notes, the notable projections linked to the proaxis. How would be my research back then? It forces us to think about this. The number 4, the projectability as a transversal axis of the proaxis. Every intermissivist has a proaxis. In one way to stay up to date, it is through the projections. So that things change along the life, right? During the life. The rear axis here. So I was thinking about during this night the acceleration of the magna proaxology acceleration. It's a proaxological acceleration related to the railbacks. So the fact that we are studying the semi-consciousness, this could accelerate even more. When we took the intermissive course, there wasn't the CIX, for example. And it's very important to this dynamic projectability balance, the chrono priority, and personal projectiological milestones. I'm going to share some of my own experiences. I used to take my boat and every day here. And then the navigation, the intraphysical navigation, the comparison of this. A very important experience I had. So when you're boating, you have a real, or sailing, you have a really concern if you're going to get lost or what you're going to lose. Because everybody would lose something. So once I look at myself and I see under the water. I was looking for something under the water. And then I realized I was a long time in there. And then when I realized that, I validated. And then I woke up. And then when I started having classes in the institute, I understood there was a projection. So that was interesting because I was seeing all the objects people lost there, close to the dock. And this was about 1985. So I had a competition. Why I'm bringing this? When I brought this to Professor Valdo, that was your biggest mistake. So I was 10 years old. Is there any relationship with the experiences I had with my parapsychic process? I don't know. So I had retrocognition in the aristocracy, participation. So let's go a little faster here. From 8 to 11, I had the beginning of the catalepsis. In around 1986, the first projection, the lucid takeoff. When I had like my interconsciential basement, I had the helper to be there to help me to get to the Congress. I had several experiences during the Congress. So we had a bioenergy workshop when I felt the motivation. I felt my coronal chakra for the first time. That was to fixate that experience so I wouldn't forget that experience. And then there was the Congress, the Compro. So that was the experience that I had to become an experience. And that was the tambourine. Professor Valdo used to talk about this. And at the beginning of on the Congress, when I had my first projection, I saw myself as an adult and talking like an adult, having adult conversations. I attributed this to the tambourine, the Pandero process. Then I saw myself writing when I was 23 years old, when I had that projection I mentioned. Then I had that destiny decision to move to Foz do Iguaçu. And then on the 28 to 30 years, when there was an exponential growth for me. Everything based on the projectiological base. So, yeah, she would like some masterpieces. I don't see like this. And the experience that I mentioned, consciousness K, and the rescue that I had was very meaningful to me. There is an evolutionary process here.
So as I mentioned, so many times I would be out of the body. And I see that today, sorry guys, we are having technical problems here. So this that I mentioned, we have to think that we should pop out of the body with a better level of projection versus this spontaneity, the long-term perspective. Do not see projectability as an end, but as a means. I think it's important. It's the importance of projectiography and the projectiological self-relay. I want to have more experience with more lucidity, and I want to start earlier. I even start with 10, but with lack of maturity in a very amateur. Let's see if this gets better. So, and then think about the pre-rhizomatic and the preparatory and executive phase of the self-projectability. In order for us to do a better and a more wide work. For us to close, so why all these experiences with the projectability, and I wanna say that it looks like that I am a super duper projector. It's not like this. I know that the projections, they help me a lot, but I am 100% sure that there are much more people who go out of the body with more lucidity. But then I started reflecting about the mega paravínculo. No, so what is that? It's the it's the paras brain mark, a paracerebral mark, no, of the evolutionary idea of highest priority for one's existential program, the proaxis, no, and the recycling of one's own matter tocin, new matter tocinology, no, so resulting from the intense reflection during the intermissive course. So, folks, the megaparavínculum is this. You come with some noise due to your temperament. You go through the intermissive course, and it generates the idea of the paraconstructum to recycle your matter tocin. And then I ask you all, have you ever thought about it? Reflecting on your life so far. So what was the priority idea suggested by the evolutionologist that you reflected on most during the intermissive course? This is a hypothesis I have. I mentioned that. So having a proaxis as a lexicographer or have a proaxis with so many informations, it's important for us to unteach what we taught in the past. And that helps us with the connection with the parapsychism. I bring in the article 14 attributes that help me to arrive in the condition of EXIS. I will highlight just 7 for us to close. First, analyze the INVEXIS, the INVEXology, the contact with the helper since the beginning, having this coincidence to be more interconnected. The lucid projections, the assisted, the intruding lucid projection, I used to say they are quite recurrent. I recall I mentioned already when I popped out of the body, I had consciousness that would be going after me. And then I went up into a class of P3 and then I asked, whenever I popped out of the body, there are 2 boys, they go after me. And then she said, well, not be, you have to go to deal with, to sterilize energy, do something, do not stand. And then I realized that it was able to do something. So those experiences, they help us to perceive how things work, how is the projection, how is the out-of-the-body manifestation, and how we interact with the helpers in a more direct way or a more indirect way. Another argument is this binomial penta-epicenter status. No, so I was able to perceive that I've been doing penta for more than 20 years, and I have this crescendo of calm recover. The retrocognitions, our proaxis went up to for us to study seriexology, and then we saw an increasing holomnemonic access, the possibility of recalling experiences from other lives or even intermissions that could be responded by the coincidence. The verponography, maintaining one's writing with occasional verpons. No, if you write a lot, your parabrain is very unalignment. No, the neo-metatarsine, the attempt to consolidate a neo-metatarsine. When we did the literate forum, the group arrived up to the conclusion that it was correlated with cognition, cognitiophilia, neo-paracognitiophilia, which is us trying to interconnect parapsychism with writing. And then perhaps be able to be part of one of the axes for us to help the maxi mechanism more and more. Among these, we want to conclude saying what I have been doing after 4 decades of projectiology. We received a lot, these two, that inspire me to write this article. Proexometrology. Do I constantly evaluate my self-projections, or we just register? Projectiology. Do I know how to use projections to further my existential program? Sometimes might be old or not. Mega paravinculum. Have I brought my priority intermissive mega idea to fruition? Like building this intermissive mega idea, the wholesale approach, which is our tendance. So I can lead some percentage intra and extra physical both together. And then the personal projectability is a mega parapsychic attribute capable not only of updating the foundations of one's existential program, but also of fostering profound consciential transformation. It should be continuously evaluated through one's lifetime. So I want to show the treatise. It was smaller, and then it was even bigger. Things, they start slower. First, the projection of the consciousness. After projectiology in 86, with a language different than the neologism we are used to. And then this more definitive here. Let's hope that this is the example for us to follow the same group proaxis. Thank you all. It seems we have some time. Thank you very much for the level of theorists from now until 1955. We are going to have space and interaction. this event, we have simultaneous translation for English and Spanish. So in the moment we elaborate our questioning, let's do this and help the volunteers that are doing this function. So Instructor Pedro mentioned that his article would be in the Homo Projector magazine. If you want to check, it's homoprojectors.iipc.org. So everybody will be able to have access to this article. Our team of monitors is available.
Sergio, we start. So we have one question on the online here. So we talk about the timing of facts. Unfortunately, the coincidence when you got started in the consciential, what it is that the key moment, the turning point when you did the association, your experience, the projectiology and proaxis. Was it the helpers helped you? It was a slow process for me. Even started with Professor Valdo. He was guiding me through this process. So the turning point was the epicentrism process. And now and then I had to take responsibility, more visibility. And when Professor Valdo indicated me to be, appointed me, from that it was a turning point. So I started to value more my experiences. My experiences were common experience. Everybody had those same experience. Then I realized that the experiences that I had were not that specifically. And then when I had the retrocognition, you exposed this in a very important way for me. Then I started seeing your roles on other lives. So I had the Penta experience, the epicentrism. I didn't have that lucidity at all. I had those experiences, the projections that I had. I thought everybody was like this. I wouldn't see myself as a person that could contribute like I'm doing here right now, giving this presentation. And life brought me together to Professor Valdo. Chris helped me a lot. And then I was growing or coming out of this and having this, coming out of this limited vision that I have of myself. Everybody here should be thinking about this. We have a lot of knowledge, but if we don't put the effort, we don't make that step. That step, we don't step up. That's why I value a lot. For me, it's almost crazy. So I was doing taking a course about discernment. So we put a team together so we could do a deep dive and study it in depth. And during the dynamic, during the course, so I think I have 80% of the particity. I think I am a Desperto, someone, I think Mauricio. He already arrived saying he's a very high level confidence. And in my case, I said, I know I'm not. And Professor Wald said, I was. So I'm not that level. I don't have a book. So I locked myself in that condition. It was on a Saturday in the morning. And that was the mental somatic cycle. So we couldn't participate there. So and then I was defending this theory. And Fatima Soares, I said that I should rethink what I was saying, the experiences that I had, my temperament, my temper. She disappeared in front of me, and then I see a concierge, an older lady. You should pay attention what this professor is telling you, and give me I felt a lot of energy. Should I take responsibilities? I should think about more of this. I had like 51 entries in the encyclopedia, verbets. Chris came to pick me up when we were going up here. So there was a concierge that was in the tertuliarium. There was a Serenissimus, a consciousness, a concierge, and she is designated. She focuses on elderly, and she suggested Professor Waldo, and who had more than 50 verbets should be considered an author. I said that's impossible. What I was complaining about without being an author is so. And then she was saying that. So now it says, well, what do you need? This is all from the on the parapsychic point of view. Then I started to think in a different way. Those interventions, the helpers' interventions, they were very critical for me in related to my weak traits. I was always on the fence, and then it's little by little we're starting to improve this. And the turning point was the epicentrism for me. Thanks for the question. Anyone online? We have more than 120 people online. The question is, Pedro, my projections lost objectivity. And then there is a bit of fantasy. Fantasy as well. Is there a variable to define this type of situation? Everybody it could happen. Sometimes it can happen if it could be not a lucid experience. In my case, is to work more with my brain, to say, read more, write more. It increases the rationality. So those scenes are more rational. So be careful what you're reading, what you're watching on TV. That's the fantasy that would be impact on influence in your projections. In the toxins, as that when happened during the projection. To go through this process of fantasy, it is to be a more mental somatic approach, meaning writing, reading. So congratulations. In several moments, you said about this process that you look at yourself like a routine and a disciplined routine, the self-tocenic process. Yeah, as a doctor, it's not a simple life. I am a teacher. I have a routine to very interaction with a lot of adolescents. How is your organizational process, a mental organization process, tocenic organization process, so it doesn't interfere in your projections? I'm not sure. I don't believe I'm a very good example of this because my life, it's a fast-paced life. I do long shifts, and I use what I have, which is easier for me. When I perceive things are going to happen, I'm going to give you an example. Doing this, the daily craziness of my life in the Congress, the 2024, the International Congress of Conscienciology, the Tiago told that there is a researcher doing some experience, a projection experience in Marina. And then I had a coffee break with her, and she invited me to take some tests in the Acto Lab. Yeah, it's going to be terrible. I was thinking about it. What happened? And then when she slotted my experience, I started perceiving the difference. I was encapsulated. There was a helper a lot, like really beside me already. I realized there was something going on. I am more helped than than helping. They always help me when it is necessary. So when I had a very good, I almost left. I was almost taken off from the body. I was sitting in a chair and I started to feeling that I was taking off. I saw like a helper outside, a beard help, and then I hear like a bomb going off, and that makes me come back to my body. But what was interesting about this experience in this moment, in this semi taking off process, I started to hear that noise. I saw that he was part of the team, the projector that wrote a book. I forgot the name. The author of a book about this. Bowman. William Bowman. I saw that he looked like that person, that consciousness. I never studied him, but he is part of the backpacks that was helping her doing the experiment. But to answer you, the helpers always help me when I need. And always what I try to do. Yeah. Professor Valdo pushed me to take more a leadership role. I'm here right now because I need to write about my experiences. This helps me a lot because they help me. In the other CIPRO, we on the Congress, we are moving from house to another house. I left a course to help during my move. So I got all my files and started pushing my files. And the cart was about to tip over. And then everything disappeared. I see myself with a slave pushing like a cart with rocks. If those rocks would fail, I would die as a result of this. I gave the class. I try to compensate this lack of time that I have with being more engaged with the classes that I do, the tertulias. Professor Oda had an expression that he was getting ready for the carnival arrive. If I don't decimate, I want to be in a better condition to take advantage of more time. It doesn't exclude the necessity that for me to improve. So in the IIPC, we created, if you want to leave any tip or hint, how we can work on those sources available to reach more people. This projective culture. We need to put the message out more, to interact more. If we can do this, an invisible college that goes beyond the institute and the conscientiology science itself. So we gain a lot from this. On the other hand, we see the person should be looking at what she's good at. Well, I'm going to give you another example. So we're living on downtown. And Professor Valdo was about to launch the Lexus, self-reflection Lexus. And I've working during the night. So on the revision, when I go to sleep, I have a projection, right? I take off, the helper ask me to follow him or go to like an extra physical hospital. And there is a consciousness very deformed. So I should be giving my energy to that consciousness, to that conscience. You're going to be doing something that something different. It's like a volatilization around that consciousness, that conscience. And it looks like that conscience was, some memory was kind of coming back to that consciousness. So when we left that experience, sometimes we don't value, because of it's a memory issue. If a conscience fixates, it's actually not gonna help oxygenate and to help those consciences to see from a different perspective. Every projector should have a specialty, so they understand more their strong traits. I see myself in very of the experiences that you had. I was an invexor. What I would like to task it to say it is the astral projection. It's type of a bait. Professor Valdo also mentioned that. It's like a door that you open when you're doing the projection process. So it's a humble process, inevitable to be humbled by the experience. You see, you know, of the helpers, the mentor. The astral projection, but no, so to help us to be more humble. But 70% of the people that got in touch or entered the conscientiology was because of the projection or projections they had. For me, it was like a lever that is starting the process. So there are several consciousness or in the intraphysical world, they need to be awakened. In the projections, it is one point that sometimes help people to get in contact with conscientiology. What it is really important is how to get in touch with this. The research and to be more humble about it. I observe people, what they say. When the person start having projections and they see his or her own life, so you thought about yourself, you wouldn't be a writer. The projection process helps you to understand where you are. It's a vision of the entire process. It's not limited. It helps you to be more grounded. That's the humbling process that happens.
Here first. Invexes. So you spoke about lucid projection. I have two questions related to that. Perhaps the two questions, they are the contrary. First, it's about projection that makes you to be sort of ashamed of the projection. So if you have lucid projections, you have all projections, they are good, or they vexatoire projections, but in a few moments of life, they happen exactly for us to think, to reflect about what we have to change. Perhaps we have ectopic priorities, or even in the projection by itself. Because the projection is, they are like a step up. If something that is not well organized in the intraphysical scenario, that will pop out in the projection. I have many vexatoire projections, but with that, you need to deepen the recyclage, analyze in what you need to qualify. Do you have a suggestion to do that for beyond to what we need to do? You have to analyze the context, the subject. Perhaps you see what is the deviation, what is the ectopy that is. What is the ectopy? You are young, no? So see, I was thinking another thing. We study semi-conscience, that is there. The big gap for you as young people, it's called social net, cell phone, because that alterates your brain and you don't perceive. My other question is related with memory. So you said you were studying memory, and for me, it's a big gap. So study memory. There are many books about memory that you are going to overload your brain with that. And then you are going to de-intrude yourself with that. So the cognition tends to de-intrude us. I receive a friend, Rogério, from São Paulo. He went to study in São Paulo. I wrote him a letter and spoke about projections. I miss him. I was not able to see his graduation. And I had this mental target. I wanted to be there because in the projection, you have to do step by step. So you have to reflect. So I am here, there is this corridor, I was in his house, I saw a gate. When I am popping out, thinking about the rememorization, and then the helpers, they brought me in a different context. And then I was there donating energy, but reflecting about the house of Rogério, not to miss this memory. What I want to tell is be interested on memorizing that. I did not study. I did not take so serious memory. Of course, we had not so many resources as we have today. So you guys that are younger, if you take that in serious when you arrive, when you are with my age, no, there is a white book with a red knot in the cover called Memory. So we have 5 minutes. We think that, so we have this question and then we finish with that. So Pedro, the issue related with reinforce this process of experience, life experience, in a sense of, we did a course semi-conscious. I had an opportunity to participate with Marina, with many experiences Marina brought to us. I want to highlight the validation for those who have those experiences in terms of validation and being part of this. But this process of self-validation, self-validating the experiment, one of the first things, one of the first effects of the projection is the self-validation. See, if I popped out of the body, if I visit my friend, see there, write a letter and tell him, no, this is a validation. Personal, because it enhances my confidence, and in his case as well, this exists. So the question about the validation is, it's important up to a certain point, because imagine how many validations we had talking about this reality to the conventional science. So you need to see this self-validation, self-experimentation in your own case. Now see, being able to talk about this and people being able to understand, it was exactly what I had with this book, vibrational state, and that helped a lot. Imagine a community being built from that with scientific approach. See, in the past, we deal with that, but it was small groups, initiation with onirisms, mythical process, exoteric process. And then we came, Instructor Vieira ahead, and then we came behind to make this knowledge universal. So the best condition is the technical of popping out of the body is here. See, you can read, you can practice or not. Okay? Thinking about this, I'm going to ask. Thank you very much for having this patience to hear me. The main idea was for us to stimulate the projectability science speciality. Thank you, Instructor Pedro Fernandes. You are here with us in Tertuliarium or following this live broadcast on YouTube. It's still possible to participate in this program. Registrations remain open. Do not miss the opportunity to closely follow the debate. This is the biggest, the largest international meeting dedicated to projectiology and conscientiology. So be together with us. The registration link is available in the YouTube channel. Access the website. You can go to cypro.iipc.org or in our secretariat team we remain available to serve the participation. Join us in this collective building with us. So now we arrive up into moment that on part of those who appreciate the backstage on Para Backstage. We enter the moment of celebration and historical rescue of the 40 years of projectiology treatise. And without further ado, we will now watch in first hand, the official release of the documentary 40 Years of Treatise Projectiology. Therefore, we are going to ask to diminish the lights for us to get prepared for this experience. Abre a parte 2, que na parte 2 eu te passo, eu vou ler a 1. So we are going to read now. We had 337 here in Tertuliarium. Consciousness, 337 is a huge population. 233 online participations. And 84 in English. That's great. Thank you, guys. May we start? I will do my best to translate the video for you. Folks, let's have. Congratulations. Felicitar. Congratulations. For us, we are closing now, folks. We want to say thank you very much for a few people. So let's calm down. We want to call to receive a clap of hands, to receive a congratulation. We are going to gather everyone. Philip, Leandro, Jaque, Domingos, Fábio Ferrari, Carlos, Rafael from IIPC São Paulo. For the second time, Valdiner Ernesto from Angola, Irina Marcos from Romania. Many people helped in this video. Those we mentioned here, they were with us since the beginning. If we can clap our hands. Before giving the word to Jackie, who in Tertuliarium is completing anniversary of 40 years together with Projectiology treatise? I know Alexander Steiner and Chris, both they complete 40 years. 40 years of being a volunteer. Malu is completing 40 years of volunteers. Angela, could you stand up, please? Everybody who is completing 40 years of volunteers together with Projectiology. Could they stand up? Chris, Alexander, Marina. Folks, in the name of the communication of IIPC and the partnership with CIEC, we cannot give a round of applause for Alessandra and Isabella that are coordinating together with us everything. So we are finishing the first time of the 7th International Congress of Projectiology and the 30th Parascientific Week of Conscientiology. We wish you all an excellent night, full of reflection, inspiration, and great lucid projections. So tomorrow, we will meet again in the Interludium Iguaçu Conventional Hotel from 8:45 a.m. Brazilian time to discuss table with the subject projectiological experimentation. We are going to have tomorrow, Saturday. Samuel is going to be interviewed by Malu Balona, and other informations are still to come. I'm sorry, Instructor Samuel, but we imagine that in the video, you were very quoted, but we are with you. Instructor Samuel were the first technical scientific coordinator from IIPC. Those who still haven't been able to enroll, we have a flyer down there with a QR code for you to enroll. You still have time. See you tomorrow, everyone. Bye-bye.